Hi everyone, my name is Molly Steen and I'm the Director of Assessment for the Webster University Department of Professional Counseling, and I wanted to give just an update about our assessment practices. Most of this is stuff that you should probably already be fairly familiar with, but if you are either new or just not yet used to the Canvas-based PSE, the Starfish narrative note, or the key performance indicators in Canvas, then this video is for you. Also, I'm going to be discussing the new gradebook that is in Canvas now, that effective January 2020, we have a new gradebook format in Canvas. So first, I am already in World Classroom, worldclassroom.webster.edu, in this professional counseling admin and faculty class that I am listed as an instructor for, even though it's not really a class. It's really more where we go if we need resources for courses, syllabi, activities, things along those lines. So first I'm going to show you the Canvas-based PSE, since that's what most of you probably will have to deal with at some point or other, since it's used in so many different courses. So first you'll go to the Commons icon, which is on the left side of your screen. If you teach a course that is online only, then you will not have this here. Instead, you'll have to, if you have access to this professional counseling admin and faculty page, go to that and you'll find it there. So I'm going to go to that. And so once I'm in Canvas Commons, you can search all sorts of content that is available either from me or from even other universities in all manner of disciplines and grade levels even. So I am going to type in professional skills evaluation. This is what it looks like, professional skills evaluation. You can see that it is graduate level and that I am the person, Molly Steen, is the author. So you'll go there. And then it just shows a couple. This is sort of what it looks like on the student end. You'll go to import/download and then choose the course that you want it to go to. So these are all the courses that I'm either currently teaching or previously taught. I'm going to put it into maybe our, let's see, professional counseling admin and faculty. And I better move this window down just so you can see what I'm doing here. So you select the course you want it to go to and then click import to course. And now it says you've successfully started the import. It may take a little while. Sometimes it takes a few minutes, sometimes it takes a few more minutes, but it's usually not too long. So I'm going to go back to that course and it should show up as, actually that should show up as a quiz, because even though it's not really a quiz, that's what it looks like. So I see I have two of them because I've already imported it in the past. So I'll go to one of those. It really doesn't matter. Oh, one thing that you'll want to make sure of is that it is published, that this green box, this green thing is checked. If you have it unchecked, I guess I can't uncheck that one. There, if I uncheck it, then it looks like that. And if it's like that, then it's not going to show up. It's not going to work for you. So you need to make sure that that is checked so that it's published. So I'm going to go in there and then I go to Speed Grader up here. It's going to open a new window for me. And if you don't want students to see their scores right away, if you want to wait and release them manually, this is a different thing about the Canvas gradebook. You'll want to go up here to this icon. Oh, it's not going to let you. Instead, actually, I better show you how to do that. If you go to grades, it will give you an option of, let's see here, professional skills evaluation. Grade posting policy is what you want. And so this, if it says automatically, that means as soon as you post a grade, the students can see it. If you click manually, then that means that students will only be able to see it after you have manually clicked a button to release the grades. And so that may be something that you prefer, or it may not. That is based on your preference. So you go down here to save that. So again, I'm going to go back to the gradebook. I'm going to pull this out and go to View Rubric. And these are all of the items on the professional skills evaluation. And so you'll just click through. We typically, in most classes, and it's defaulted to Alicia Anderson Brown, because that's the first person on my list. So I suppose I will just leave it like that. So I typically we are going to just go, you're generally going to most likely put either meets criteria minimally or inconsistently, or meets criteria consistently. We really don't tend to see a lot of this exceeds criteria unless a student is very late in their practicum and they have a great deal of skill in the area that we're looking at. Because otherwise, if we have, this does not affect their grade. If you give them like a 0 or a no opportunity to observe or something like that, that doesn't adversely affect their grade necessarily. It just tells us as the faculty and your colleagues who are eventually going to teach the student eventually how well they are doing and whether they need extra help or support or reinforcement on these areas. It does not punish them in any way. It doesn't mean that they are doing badly necessarily. It just means if they get a low score, then it's just an area for them to work on. So you'll click through saying whether they meet consistently or minimally or does not meet criteria, depending on how they're doing. And again, especially earlier in the program, we don't expect them to be even consistently meeting a lot of these. Feedback to peers. And for any of these, if you want to see a longer description of what it is you're actually assessing them on, this is sort of the longer version of what we're looking for. So, like respect for cultural differences, like if they have not had their social and cultural class yet, or if they are in it and struggling with that because it's personally difficult for them, it's acceptable if they get a lower score on that, and that just means that this is an area for future growth for them. And so once we've clicked through all of these items, then you click Save. And then once the student, once you release the grades to the student can see what their score was on each of these items, and they will get a prompt on their end, basically asking them to click a box saying that I have read and understood and had the opportunity to discuss this feedback with my instructor. And once they click the box, that is our documentation that they have actually received their feedback. That's how they get due process. So that is for the quantitative part of the PSE. For the qualitative part, instead of, again, we're trying to do away with unnecessary paper and unnecessary files. It's so much easier to have this electronically and in the cloud. So instead, we will go, I'm going to put this back up here so you can see, to Starfish. The way you get there is, again, when you go to Connections, you'll click this Starfish logo, and it will take you to Starfish, where you can type in the student's name up in that search box, and then you select the student. And so for this student, this is a fake student, because I don't want to write a note on a real one. You click plus note, add note, and well, this one's only giving me the opportunity to give an advising note because they are not a counseling student. If they were a counseling student, then it would give me the opportunity to write this counseling developmental narrative note, which is only for counseling faculty members. People in the registrar's office or in the library or the academic advising center will not be able to see anything that we write as a developmental narrative for counseling students. So do keep that in mind. You'll want to find, like when you are doing these, select from the drop-down counseling developmental narrative. And then you'll write your feedback. In the subject line, you'll want to put PSE narrative for, and then whatever your course is, 6100 if it's practicum. And then you write whatever your feedback is. Student has begun seeing clients at their site. Needs to work on self-disclosure, something like that. And then you'll want to click this box, send a copy of the note to the student, because then that will email the student saying, hey, you have this note that is now in the Starfish portal for you to see. So once you do that, then you'll click submit. And then other counseling faculty will be able to see that note. So if you go in looking for the student and you go to notes, you click this, then it will show up. It's still loading, it's still putting it in there. But once you go in there, you'll see that, oh, this is, see, here we go, PSE narrative for Counseling 6100. And you should certainly write more than just this. I just was using this as an example. So this is what that will look like. So again, no more writing hard copy paper files for any of this. And this way, again, if you have a student transferring from one campus to another, or if you are a new instructor who's never taught this student before, but they have a history of other feedback from other instructors in previous courses, you can go to Starfish and actually read what has been written about that student. So that is so handy instead of having to hunt down paper files that may either not exist or have been misplaced or that the other faculty member is still working with. The other thing I wanted to show you is, let's see, I'm going to go back here to the actual course, go back to Commons. We have these key performance indicator assignments, which are, I'm just going to go to my shared assignments. This is not going to be what you do because you have not shared any assignments, most likely. But I've created a bunch of assignments that have outcomes rubric attached to them, which is, again, how we gather data. So let's say you're teaching Counseling 6500 internship. This is the case conceptualization assignment. And so here is the prompt for the case conceptualization. The language came from the syllabus, the master syllabus for the class. And again, it just, it shows these are the things that we're looking for in the case conceptualization assignment. These are the point values that count for each of these items. And then the outcomes rubric. So these are two separate things. This rubric is how they will get their score. And then this outcomes rubric that looks just the same as in the Canvas-based PSE is how the department will get assessment data, so that when we do an assessment report going forward, we'll be able to see that, oh, students got, are averaging like a 2.2 on their description of a client in clinically appropriate language, or their description of a client's presenting concerns and treatment issues in clinically appropriate language, things along those lines. So again, if I import this to my professional counseling admin and faculty class, select import, and I've successfully started, so I'm going to go back, and hopefully it'll be there already. If not, it takes a little while sometimes. Case conceptualization. So again, you want to make sure that it is published. Do not unpublish it, otherwise you won't be able to. First of all, the students won't be able to see the prompt, and then you won't be able to use it as an assessment in the class either. So again, going to speed grader, that's what I just clicked. I'm going to pull that out just so I can see the full criteria. So again, this is what it looks like. For a description of the client, this is what we're looking for in clinically appropriate language. Student describe the client's demographic characteristics, including but not limited to age, gender, ethnicity, et cetera, and number of sessions so far, source of referral, that sort of thing. Or client conceptualization. Student offered a sound, theoretically grounded hypothesis for the sources of the client's current problems and how the client's strengths might mitigate this, et cetera, et cetera. So again, we just, and I think I even took out, I took out the points here because the points do not reflect any numerical value that have anything to do with the grade. So again, we just say, yes, they're meeting criteria on all these things and maybe still are not quite getting diagnosis, still maybe not great on treatment goals and interventions yet because it's not really aligned with their theory that well yet, and so forth. And so again, it's very important that once you've done all that, click submit, so that then that's what sends the department that data. So again, as we are assessing the quality of the program itself, we can see that on average, students in internship are getting, like a 2.5 or even a 1.9 on this item on the case conceptualization in their internship. So we have these for, a whole bunch of different classes. We have key performance indicators for most classes in the curriculum. So if you're not sure what yours is for your class that you're teaching, please reach out to me. So we have the case conceptualization for internship, the assessment report for assessment. We have a final exam that covers weeks 1 through 9 for ethics, but then I also have a midterm and a final for ethics, depending on what you do. If you have like a midterm and then a final, they're the same questions, they're just split apart. What else? Final psychodiagnostic case study for psychodiagnostics. So again, just let me know if you have questions about what your key performance indicator is for your class if you're not sure. Anyway, thank you for watching, and again, please reach out if you need help. Thank you.